Imagine if without a moment's notice, everything you held dear was ripped away. Your children lost, your home in ruins, your life's work turned to ash, and your health failing. What if the very people supposed to support you claimed you deserved it? And what if God met your cries with silence? Would your faith remain?
What a glorious day! My family at last!
We are so happy you are here.
There once lived a man named Job in the land of Uz. He was blameless and upright, a man who feared God and stayed away from evil. Job was wealthy and respected, with 7 sons, 3 daughters, and many servants. He owned thousands of animals, 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 oxen, and 500 donkeys. He was considered the greatest man among all the people of the East. One day, the angels came to present themselves before God, and Satan also came with them. "Where have you come from?" asked the Lord. Satan answered, "From roaming throughout the earth, going back and forth on it." God continued, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one like him, blameless and upright, fearing God and shunning evil." Satan replied, "Does Job fear God for nothing? You've put a hedge around him and blessed him. But stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face." God said, "Very well. Everything he has is in your power, but do not lay a finger on the man himself." One ordinary day, Job was at home when messengers began to arrive one after another, each bearing more horrifying news than the last. The first messenger came running, breathless and terrified. He said, "The oxen were plowing and the donkeys were grazing nearby when Sabaeans attacked and made off with them. They put the servants to the sword, and I am the only one who has escaped to tell you." Before the first servant even finished speaking, a second burst through the door. The fire of God fell from the heavens and burned up the sheep and the servants, and I am the only one who has escaped to tell you. Again, as the second messenger finished, a third ran in. The Chaldeans formed 3 raiding parties, swept down on your camels and made off with them. They put the servants to the sword, and I am the only one who has escaped to tell you. While the third messenger was still speaking, a fourth rushed in with grief and horror. He said, "Your sons and daughters were feasting at the home of their oldest brother, when suddenly a mighty wind came from across the desert. It struck the 4 corners of the house, and it collapsed on them, and they are dead. I am the only one who has escaped to tell you." In a matter of moments, Job's world was stripped bare. Job stood up, tore his robe in mourning, and shaved his head. But instead of cursing God, he fell to the ground in worship, saying, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." In all this, Job did not sin. Some time after, Satan appeared before God again. The Lord said, "Have you considered my servant Job? He still maintains his integrity, though you incited me against him without any reason." But Satan responded, "Skin for skin. A man will give all he has for his own life. But strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face." God said, "Very well. He is in your hands, but spare his life." Satan struck Job with painful boils from the top of his head to the soles of his feet.
Stop it! Stop it right now!
Job wandered to the edge of the city, to the place where ashes were dumped. There he sat alone, scraping at his sores with a broken piece of pottery. His wife looked at him and said, "Are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die." But Job turned to her and said, "Shall we accept good from God and not also accept trouble?" When his 3 friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, heard of the calamity, they came to comfort him. When they saw him from a distance, they did not recognize him. They wept aloud, tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their heads. They sat with him on the ground for 7 days and 7 nights in silence, for they saw that his grief was very great. Then Job opened his mouth and cursed the day of his birth. "Why did I not perish at birth?" he cried. He just wanted it all to stop. His friends could no longer stay quiet. Eliphaz started, "No innocent man ever suffered like this. God punishes the wicked. Maybe you did something wrong." Job, defiant, said, "You twist my pain into proof. I know my heart. God knows it too." Bildad spoke, "How long will you say such things? If you were truly good, God would help you." Job shouting, "You blame the dead. If God would answer, I'd plead my case." Zophar continued, "Stop lying to yourself. Beg for mercy before it's too late." Then, after all the silence, the Almighty himself spoke from the storm. "Who is this that speaks without knowledge? Get ready. I will ask you questions, and you will answer me. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Have you ever commanded the morning to appear? Can you guide the stars in their path?" God painted a picture of his power over the heavens, the seas, and every living creature, from the eagle to the terrifying Leviathan. After God finished speaking, Job was quiet. He felt very small and humbled. "I am nothing," he said. "I had heard about you before, but now I have seen you with my own eyes. I take back what I said." The Lord told Job's friends, "You have not spoken the truth about me like my servant Job has." After Job prayed for his friends, God restored Job's fortunes, giving him twice as much as before. Job lived another 140 years, seeing his children to the 4th generation. Job's story reminds us that the accuser still whispers today, trying to distort the truth. But Jesus came as our advocate. On the cross, Jesus silenced every lie. Being faithful doesn't mean life will always be easy. God's ways are higher than ours. Even when we don't understand, we are called to trust. In his perfect time, God restores. May Job's journey remind you, you are never alone, and God's love is greater than any storm you face.